Ciao e benvenuti nel mio documentario su Italia, as they would say in Italy. In the small documentary you will get an impression about the 7 keys of Italy. In the documentary I'll focus on 3 keys: time orientation, communication styles and change tolerance. So why have I chosen Italy? Well, not only for the spaghetti and delicious pizzas. No, Italian people are in fact very interesting. Not only for the language they speak, also because there are a lot of differences in the keys. I've chosen for the following scenes because they give in my opinion a good overview about the 7 keys of doing business. All of the clips show you an example how the keys work in Italy. So sit back and enjoy the small documentary.
Hearts who play tippy tippy tay, tippy tippy tay, like a guitarandella. When the stars make you drool, just like a pastifazool, that's amore. When you dance down the street with a cloud at your feet, you're in love. When you walk in a dream, but you know you're not dreaming, signore. Scusa me, but you see, back in old Napoli, that's amore.
People. In Italian, as in many other languages, the way to communicate with a person depends on whether the context is formal or informal. We can say that a situation is formal when particular circumstances force us to stick to conventions such as putting on a tie for men, for example, or avoiding phrases particularly colloquial. On the other side, a situation is considered informal when we are in a friendly environment.
Did you find out about the dress code? I read that we should dress elegantly, but conservative. Dressing well is a priority. Men wear stylish shoes, shirts and ties. Brightly colored shirts are acceptable. Women should wear stylish business suits, dresses and blouses. They should also wear high heels and accessorize. Oh good, I like dressing nice.
What gesture do you make when you call out a person from a distance and tell him or her to come? Hi, how do you ask for the time without talking?
Hey, excuse me. What gesture do you make when you are scared? Hello. Excuse me, what do you do when you forget something? Oh, thanks. And what gesture do you make when you turn someone away? Oh, thanks.
What gesture do you make when a place is very crowded?
Hey, what do you do when you want to tell someone to hurry up?
How should I go about setting up the meeting? You should set up the meeting 2 to 3 weeks in advance, in writing. We will need to send a letter. Someone will need to call and confirm our meeting date and time. What time should we set it for? The Italians like their meetings between 10 and 11 a.m. or after 3 p.m. We also cannot be late. If we are 10 minutes late, the meeting will be cancelled.
Young white men shoot black workers and violent riots ensue. What sounds a bit like the American South in the 1960s is actually taking place in Italy today. The Italian town of Rossano has been the scene of a second day of clashes after a group of youths shot at African migrant workers with an air rifle. The workers then retaliated by setting cars on fire. Riot police were called in and dozens of people are wounded. The BBC's Duncan Kennedy reports.
The rioting lasted several hours and into the night. Migrants taking out their anger on cars and the police in running street battles fused with racial tension. Mostly from Africa, the men fought with officers sent in wearing riot equipment. Some of the police battled with the migrants, dragging away those who resisted. It left a number of the immigrants dazed on the ground. At least a dozen people were injured. The trouble started when a group of white youths in a car fired an air rifle at some migrants who'd been picking fruit in a local field. The migrants retaliated, setting off the night's violent events. The migrants were in Italy illegally, and some Italians resent their presence. Migrants themselves say they're here to earn money for their poor families back home and don't deserve to be targeted by racist thugs. These pictures at the migrants' ramshackle home showing an appalling level of privation shocked many Italians and were discussed in government circles. But Italy has enacted a tough anti-immigration policy in recent months, and the conditions of these men don't generally concern an Italian public largely supportive of the government's robust policies. The fighting on the streets of Rosano is one of the more extreme expressions of the underlying racial edginess there is in Italy. It doesn't often lead to rioting. This time it did, which will make it worrying. Duncan Kennedy, BBC News, in Rome.
Worrying indeed.
The streets of Italy are a far cry from Chino prison in California, but even there a law and order dispute is raging. Citizen patrols are coming under fire from critics who say that they're nothing more than vigilantes. One group in particular has created widespread controversy by dressing in khaki shirts and wearing insignia on their arms, a move that has helped to describe them as modern-day fascists. Duncan Kennedy reports from Italy.
Messina, landing point for the island of Sicily and starting point for one of a new breed of neighbourhood patrols. They call themselves Italy's National Guard, a group of ordinary citizens that now walk the streets here as crime fighters. They don't have powers of arrest, but look at the uniform. Khaki shirts with insignia on the sleeves. They've been likened to Mussolini's infamous black shirts, who terrorised opponents in the 1930s and helped the fascist dictator maintain power. The new group's uniforms are now under investigation, but patrolling like this has become legal, even though it's immigrants who they openly blame for crime.
The majority of immigrants are drug dealers or prostitutes. It would be better for them to be in their own country and help there. It's useless for them to come here. There's no work.
The government insists these patrols are under control. This woman says she feels more secure with them. But this woman says she prefers the police to maintain law and order. This one group claims to have 2,500 members and is one of dozens now setting up across Italy following the government's green light to citizens' patrols. They say they're just here to fight crime, but opponents insist this is all about intimidation, especially against immigrants. The National Guard is headed by this man, Gaetano Saia. In his own video, he rages about how Italy is for Italians. In another video we've obtained, there's applause as one of his members makes a Nazi-style salute. Opponents say entrusting security to citizens' patrols is a blow to the rule of law.
If the monopoly of security is broken and given to private groups, that means the hand of democracy. That means the hand of the opportunity of citizens to be secured and guaranteed by the state.
Italy's new citizens' patrols don't all look like the National Guard. This is another version near Venice, an addition to the forces of law and order, or a magnet for intolerance and intimidation. Duncan Kennedy, BBC News, in Sicily.
Scusi, buon uomo? Mi sa dire l'ora, per favore?
Le 5:35.
Ma è sicuro?
E 36, mo.
Ah. Grazie,
Prego.
Arrivederci. Ha mangiato il ciuchino, eh?
E no?
Senta, mi sa dire che ore sono adesso?
Andrò orta. Le 7:15.
Oh, ma sono le 7:15 spaccate. Incredibile. Ma lei come fa a leggere l'ora nelle palle del ciuchino, scusi?
No, io le alzo. Sotto c'è il campanile, vedi? E vedi? 7:15.